as the days go on, there's more and more evidence this was an inside job. So we're first going to start talking about how the Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle was at the hearing today and some things that came out with that. And just wait, because I have some things that's going to blow you the freak away. But I said initially that what they were going to do is just try to turn this into a gun violence hearing and push that agenda to remove the Second Amendment. And sure enough, they did that. Check this video out.
Simple answer. The ubiquity of guns, dangerous weapons in America like AR-15s, has that made your job, that is to say the mission of the Secret Service, easier or more difficult?
I think the threat environment for protecting our Secret Service protectees is always difficult, and that's dynamic, and it's always evolving.
We stipulate it's always difficult. Again, this is a simple one. Does the ubiquity of guns make your job easier or more difficult today?
I understand the Second Amendment rights of individuals.
I didn't ask that question. I'm not questioning the Second Amendment. I'm asking a simple analysis, Director Cheadle. And I can tell you, you're not making my job easier in terms of assessing your qualification for continuing on as director. Please answer the question. You're the head of the Secret Service. You're speaking on behalf of 8,000 members who put their lives on the line. We just had a failure by your own admission. Do guns make your job easier or harder?
I think the job of the Secret Service is difficult on every day, and we need to make sure that we are mitigating all threats, whether that be
That
weapons,
isn't my question.
personnel.
That is not my question.
The dude is losing his mind because she will not sit here and say that they need to take away the Second Amendment, right, for this. And I knew they would push that. I said that the other day, that especially if this had been a fatal shot, they definitely would have pushed that agenda, right? Now, something else that came out was that the Secret Service was initially not going to send snipers to the rally. According to local law enforcement informed Senator Johnson's offices that days before the rally that they learned from Butler County law enforcement that the Secret Service was not going to send their own snipers to the rally, and that local law enforcement would need to go sniper heavy in order to ensure proper coverage. Local law enforcement learned at least a day before the rally that Secret Service changed course and decided to send 2 sniper teams. Well, you know why that would be, because they did not want the local law enforcement to do the job before the shooter got the shots off. They thought about it. They wanted to first off give plausible deniability because they didn't have Secret Service snipers there. But then they thought, well, maybe the police snipers will actually do their job. That's an opinion, but probable. Now, the other oddity here is that if you see this post here, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle confirmed in the hearing today that Democrat Representative Sheila Jackson was heavily involved in oversight of the Secret Service. She was confirmed dead 6 days after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Now, she was involved in the oversight of the Secret Service for Donald Trump, which is very strange. And then 6 days later, she dies. Okay, so that could give, again, someone that can't give up information because they no longer exist. Right? There's just a lot of coincidences here. Now, the other big one is that Cheadle refused to record or archive the comms, or potentially even deleted them from that day. Now, I don't think there's any other conclusion to draw, because if you don't have comms that day, that's pretty telling, right? Why would you not want to keep comms from that day or anytime you're guarding President Trump? Just more and more coincidences. Now, we talked about how the patsy, Thomas Crooks, used encrypted comms. Well, during the hearing today, Director Cheadle admitted that she uses on occasion encrypted apps to communicate with government colleagues using government devices. Why? So people can't get up, what they're doing. So the other thing is, I heard, now I was not able to verify this, but it could be possible that the shooting range just so happened to be also a place where the Department of Homeland Security trained at. Now, another bombshell, though, that came out is that Secret Service did not attend the security briefing before the Trump assassination. So, again, this would give them plausible deniability. Well, we didn't have any agents there to attend the security, so we had some security lapse, et cetera, and et cetera. Just another coincidence. More and more coincidences as days go by. Now, a big one, CNN has only live streamed one Trump rally this year, and it so happened to be this one. And what what happened on the day that he was attempted assassination, right? But out of all the rallies held, they decided to carry exactly that one live. And also, when the shooter began to fire, a New York Times photographer was in the prime position to catch the shot going into Trump with his camera set on a highly unusual setting. And if you're a camera guy, you know what I'm talking about, 1 to 8,030 frames per second, which would only be used for an action shot to catch something as fast moving as something that moves at a millisecond, that you got to get it. Now, and it turns out you can actually see the bullet in flight. We've seen this photo. I've used it the other day. And it's just odd that he would be filming in that frame rate. Now, we also have talked about the differing sounds of the shots. There's 3 shots in the beginning that sound completely different than the next 5. Now, a lot of people's opinion, including mine, is the first 3 was the actual shooter. The 5 were probably crooks. Now, whatever, if just say hypothetically, Crooks was the patsy, and he thought he was just going to go do this. He was told to just make some shots and get away. He thought he was going to get away because the rifle was found about 8 feet from his body. Maybe he tossed it and tried to get away. And some people say that it possibly could have been a shot from inside of the building. Now, let's go to see. There's a guy that said he took a training course with crooks. I'm going to play a little bit of the video. I read the article. Now, the article talks a little bit more than the video does. So check it out.
I said, who is it? They said, this is the field office for the Pittsburgh FBI. And I'm, okay, hello. How can I help you?
So he's an Air Force veteran, and he's saying that he got a call from the FBI office.
And they said, well, you had taken a class at the Keystone Shooting Center, and the person that you were in the class with was the person that had shot Donald Trump.
Now, I'm going to cut to this because the music.
I went for the class. I was surprised that the class was only one other person and me. He was. So the class was only him and Crooks. Very quiet. Seemed friendly, nice kid. So we went into the range and each took our booths. We were right next to each other, and he had already was loaded and firing before I had gotten my gun even loaded. So I was kind of surprised at that, you know, and so I figured he was experienced.
So this guy's talking about his experience,
and he ended up doing better than me because
he ended up doing better than him.
On the further distances, he had shot one area so many times that it blew out a hole in the target. Towards the end of the classroom discussion, you know, when we really kind of ran out of training stuff to talk about, we started talking about other things, and eventually I got into politics. He wasn't saying anything.
So anyway, he says he gets into politics and wouldn't say anything. In the article, he doesn't say this in this video, but in the article he specifically talks about him and the instructor were Trump supporters, and Crooks got quiet. This man acted like he didn't freaking know who Crooks was. He took a course with him. He didn't know that Crooks had taken a shot at Donald Trump, per the narrative. And he gets a call of the FBI to find out. BS. There's no way. You can't be a Trump supporter and not put it together. I don't believe this whatsoever. I believe this guy is a paid actor to say these things. How is he a Trump supporter now is saying that, oh, I didn't know. I didn't put it together. I mean, it could be a true story, but in my opinion, there's just too many people popping up to try to paint this narrative of Crooks. His school also came out and made some statements stating that Crooks was not bullied. There's never been an account of Crooks being bullied. Also, that Crooks was very smart in school and actually well liked. He did keep to himself, but he was well liked. So all these stories, they're trying to pinpoint that he's some kind of guy that nobody liked and such is not really the truth. Yeah, so Cheeto admits no radio comms from that day. Okay. I like what Representative Anna Paulina Luna says. After leaving the oversight briefing this morning, because she was there, I'm convinced more than ever that Crooks wasn't working alone. Now, before we get into some water tower stuff, let's take a look at this. This is a group called Oversight Project, and what they do is they do their own independent investigations. They posted this today. They said someone who regularly visited Crooks' home and work also visited a building in Washington, D.C., located in Gallery Place. This is the same vicinity as the FBI office on June 26 of 2023. And if you see this right here, there's also in this area a Secret Service building. So whose device is this? Because they're tracking devices that came in contact with Crooks. This device, whether cell phone, iPad, what have you, had came into contact with Crooks and also has been in the same vicinity as the FBI and Secret Service office on June 26th. Okay, but there's more. So they go on to talk about here that we found the assassin's connections through our in-depth analysis of mobile ad data to track movements of Crooks and his associates. To do this, we track devices that regularly visited both Crooks' home, place of work, and follow them. Now, Crooks is supposedly be a loner and have no friends, but he has 2 cell phones, encrypted accounts. Who's he talking to? Who's these people that's coming over to his house and coming to his work and going to these sketchy places? So check this out. On August 30th, one device linked to Crooks visited Allegheny Arms. So someone that Crooks knew that came into contact with him visited Allegheny Arms. Then you see the next one, all the relevant locations with Bethel Park that are linked to both Crooks' home and workplace. And you can see that map there. Okay, and you can blow that up if you need to. But here we also see another device linked to Crooks visited Plymouth, traveled to Plymouth via Pittsburgh to Boston flight. Who is this individual? Crooks is some loner 20-year-old cafeteria worker at a nursing home, has people flying on planes and such. We found a device linked to Crooks' work that traveled to Butler, Pennsylvania on July 4th and July 8th. This device stopped all activity on July 12th. So who is this individual the day before has been talking to Crooks or coming into contact with Crooks that all of a sudden the device stopped working like a burner phone, right? And he says, for all those that are tracking this type of data, we identified devices that were located at Crooks' home and his work within the past year. There were at least 9 devices linked to these ad IDs. So they're willing to cooperate with other investigators, but not the government. Now, let's talk about the water tower. Because I have a video here showing a shadowy figure up there.
Happened.
So someone amplified this footage. I mean, this obviously looks like an individual. I mean, it's very blurry, but you can see movement. Now, if you look at this here, you can see kind of there's a ladder that goes up to this top cap here. And obviously this will give the absolute best vantage point. And it's definitely plausible. But after the hearing today and Cheeto not responding to anything, saying basically every question was, I'm waiting for the investigation. I'm waiting for the investigation. And then seeing all this information, I mean, it definitely looks like Representative Luna says that he's had some type of help. Now, They couldn't find anything. There's a van with explosives 10 miles away that's supposedly his. He has another car. How he affords all these things is crazy on a cafeteria worker salary at a nursing home. I don't know. But the FBI couldn't find him, right? Apparently, they say. But they are able to pinpoint someone at J6 by their ear that lives in Arkansas. Remember that guy they raided? I did a video on where they came in his house. They locked him up at his job. They came in his house with his pregnant wife, pointing guns just because of his freaking ear. Now, if the other thing is if you look at look at what's going on right now as far as Kamala coming in, Biden has vanished. I was going to do a complete video on that. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. But Biden has pretty much vanished, disappeared. And I heard him on conversation with Kamala through the phone, and it sounded like a deep fake, to be honest. It didn't sound like Joe Biden at all. But if you were to look at this in another country, if the UN were looking at this, you looked at an assassination attempt of the opposition leader, you looked at a president that vanishes, and then all of a sudden the shadow government installs their new puppet overnight, they would literally be sending in troops to this place. That's what's happening real time in our country. And, you know, I beat this drum all the time that it's going to get worse before it gets worse. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's going to be fine. Trump's going to win. Do you really believe that? Do you believe that's going to happen? My fear is there are going to be more attempts. I don't think they'll try the lone wolf gunman anymore. That didn't work out. And in modern era, there's too many ways that can be smoked out. You get what I'm saying? That's why she didn't even want to go testify, Cheadle that is, because there's just too much data that's out there that is easy to dispel that is some lone wolf guy. As we've seen, that's why there's so many gaps in the story. There's so much extra information. I would be more fearful of some type of plane crash, something like that, some disease quickly. I would be fearful of these sort of things. You know, I don't see them giving up their tyrannical power. I don't see it. Anyway, guys, I want to know your thoughts on all this. I wanted to share this information. And guys, we're going to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Take care.